Today I'm going to be making raspberry jam. So the supplies that I have ready at this point are our frozen raspberries that we've picked from the garden over the summer, sugar, our pectin, jars that have been washed. I still will be sanitizing them in boiling water, which I have a stock pot boiling outside. I have a pot for the lids, a pot for the berries, and then just some miscellaneous things. So we're going to get started with that. So I now have the lids boiling in this little pot. After 10 minutes, I'll just set it aside until I'm ready to use them. I have all the jars outside boiling in the canning pot, actually. I'm now going to put all the raspberries in this pot and start heating them up. I wasn't really sure how far these would go, but it looks like maybe we'll just start with this and see how many cups of mashed berries we end up with, and we can always add more if we need to. We also have some foraged black caps in here, so I think that'll be a nice addition.
I want a frozen raspberry.
You would like to try frozen raspberry? I wonder if they'll be sour. So I'm going to heat up all these frozen berries. We'll see what it amounts to. I'm hoping to get 14 jars of jam, which means I'm going to need about 8 cups of the raspberries. Here is the pot of raspberries that started off frozen. It's now a really nice sauce. I have all of our sugar measured out. Because we're doing a double batch, I needed, 13 cups of sugar. For 4 cups of crushed berries, you need 6.5 cups of sugar. I'm hoping to get 8 cups of berries. I have all my sugar measured out in separate bowls. I'm now going to use this mesh strainer and strain out some of the seeds. I wasn't going to, but I see that it's pretty heavily seeded, and I think my kids will enjoy it a little bit more if I get rid of some of those. So I'm going to do that quick, and then we will go check on our jars outside. Are you eating sugar?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. All right, let's see how this goes.
Are you going to time lapse now?
Okay. So I have my berries in there. I'm just going to use a spoon and try to push through as much as I can. I'm sure our chickens will like whatever is left in this strainer, so it will head off to them. I prefer to have these black caps in the jam, so I'm going to pick some of those out. going to set this aside. So the next step is going to be to measure out what I have here. I'm going to turn the heat off. I'm going to use this, and I'm going to have to get another container because it's not quite enough. We'll start with this to see what we have. Again, I'm looking for 8 cups of crushed berries. Okay, so this is 6 cups. I think if I'm careful, I can just use our measuring cup here and measure. So I am just a touch, about a half a cup short. So I'm going to quickly boil up or heat up a few more frozen berries and add this to this, and then I will come back and we'll go check on those jars. All right, we are definitely boiling. We probably have been boiling for plenty long. So I've just been using my hot water bath canner. And I have all of our jars and the screw lids in here. I will bring out a towel. I think I'm going to do the final steps of the canning just outside here on our table. It'll be a little bit easier, so I'm going to go grab a towel. We'll lay out a towel, remove the jars to let them just dry, air dry, and once our jam is mixed with the sugar and pectin, we'll bring it out here and fill our jars. So I have a clean towel. I have my jar remover. I have the lids. I'm going to go grab the jars out and bring them on over. Another half a cup here. I'm just going to leave all the seeds in. Take about probably 10 or 15 minutes to get it to this point, but it just started to do a rolling boil. I'm going to turn it down so it doesn't go over. I am timing it for 1 minute. At this point you could opt to skim off some of the foam if you didn't add your butter or margarine, or you can just leave it. And now that it's been a minute, I'm going to add in our pectin. Once that's all stirred in, I'm going to time one more time for a full minute, and then we will move outside and fill our jars. So those are both in. I'm going to stir that in and return it to a rolling boil, time for a minute, and then then we'll go fill our jars. Just gonna look for any clumps of that liquid. I think it should mix in pretty easily. I'm gonna turn up our stove. You're gonna stir constantly at this point. Check for a boil. Okay, so our boil has returned. I'm timing for 1 minute. Okay, so I'm turning off the heat. If you do want to skim off the foam, the metal spoon works really well. You can just go around like so to get some of that off. All right, I'm gonna take this outside and we'll go fill up our jars. So here we are outside. I'm going to use one of these canning funnels to fill up my jars. I'm gonna put on my lids. The lids have been sitting in hot water. They boiled for 10 minutes and they are ready to use. And then we'll do the hot water bath. While I'm filling the jars, I'm going to turn the hot water bath back on so that the water is nice and hot for when we're ready to do the actual canning. Jars are filled. I was able to get what I was hoping for, and there's probably enough in here that I could have done another jar or maybe even a jar and a half. I'll just save this and put it in the fridge and it will be our test jar. So I'll set that aside. I'm going to now put these into the hot water bath, which is boiling. I'm going to use this tool here. It's an easy way to transfer. Comes with a lot of canning pots. So I'm going to move those over there and we will process for 10 minutes. You want to make sure that the water covers the jars by 1 to 2 inches. And if you feel like you're short, you can just add boiling water. Set timer for 10 minutes. All right. So all of our jars are in here. I'm gonna try and prop some of these up a little bit better. And they'll sit in here for 10 minutes and then we'll remove them and put them back on the towel to start cooling, and then we'll move them inside and make sure that they all seal. It has been 10 minutes, so I'm going to turn off the stove. And grab these out of here and get them on the table to start cooling. Looks so good. already heard most of these pop, which is a good sign. So after about 12 hours, we'll check them again, and any that aren't sealed, we'll put in the fridge.